All right, here we go, music lovers. This is Bonafide Mike right here with episode 8 of Just Two People Talking. And today we're going to be speaking with Sean Nations, the hardest working man in rock and roll, and the most bon vivant person I've ever met. Have not met one more. So today we're going to talk to him about his career in music, how he got started, where he's at now, and where he plans to take this from here. So I guess let's go ahead and start at the beginning. How did you develop an interest in music? Did you hear something when you were a child, or did you, how's your beginnings in the music?
Well, it's interesting because my parents worked in bars, so I was always around music, even when I was little. Like in elementary school, I remember watching TV and seeing Kiss show up on a show, and I forgot the name of the show, but they were the special Halloween guests. And so I always had a big interest ever since I was in elementary school. In fact, I had a Kiss lunchbox when I was in elementary school, and I loved Alice Cooper. And I think I was around, I was in the first couple grades, hey, what do you think you're going to be when you grow up? And so they give you their little awards, like, okay, you're going to be an astronaut. Mine was most likely to sing in a rock band, and that was, I'm guessing, around second, third grade or something of that nature. So yeah, I was that kid that went to school with a Kiss lunchbox and tried to dress cool. And it's funny because I would bump into a lot of people who are friends of mine who are still good friends of mine, like Chris Kronk. Chris Kronk and I, as well as Pat Kinnison, who is right now with Lita Ford. We all at one point had to go to a Catholic military school, and we were the three weirdos that had Kiss lunchboxes, and so it just blossomed from there. Then I got a garage band in high school and did that, and had the little Radio Shack mic that has the little on-off switch that I was trying to sing into that was just silly. I remember having, when I was young, we'd put on Kiss albums, dress up as Kiss, and I'd stand on my bunk bed and the strobe light and spit ketchup all over all over the carpet and get in trouble from my parents.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, it's always been there, and so I just keep going, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, do you play any instruments?
So when I first started playing in GarageBand, in our garage, to be honest, I had a Destroyer, and so I was learning stuff. So I learned learned Judas Priest, Breaking Law. I learned Black Sabbath. But then one day I was playing, the strap broke, the guitar fell, the neck broke. I was done. But I am thinking about learning guitar again one day. So the answer is no. I have no ability in music at all.
Oh, that's cool. So, what was the first band you were in when you started playing in a band?
The first official band I was in, and it was with Kevin Tim and a bunch of people, and I believe, what was it called? King's something. It's a disease. I forgot what the name of it is. King something. And then my first official band I played shows with, recorded with, was called Nation's Reign, and that was in the 80s. And it's kind of funny because I was talking to Buster Grant, and Buster's like, you didn't play in the 80s? I was like, yeah, I did. I go, just different genre. So we had a band called Nation's Reign. Oh, King's Evil. That was it, King's Evil. Apparently it's a disease that one of the guys had. And so I had a band called Nation's Reign, and it was with all my high school friends, and a lot of them I'm still really good friends with. And we recorded a demo, and I didn't choose the name. Everyone's like, Nation's Reign. I'm like, that was the guys. Don't blame me. I didn't like the name. And from there, I went to go sing with Dawson and them. And Dawson had a band, Negative. Sang for Negative. We never did any shows. I did have Chase Gents and some of the Kinnison guys try to get me into their glam band a long time ago, but it wasn't really my thing. So I did Negative. We never played shows. We got a lot of rehearsals, and then this band Alienation hit me up, and I was like, you know what? I want to go play with those guys. I want to play with Alienation. And so again, I did not choose the name. Nations has nothing to do with me. And so I sang for Alienation, and then I left Alienation after a good while. We had a really good following. We were playing a lot of really big shows, and formed a band with Kurt from Celtic Frost called Doomsday. And then I did Killswitch Incorporated, and actually I am still doing Killswitch Incorporated, and then all the new bands I'm doing now. Like I'm doing a tribute to Guns N' Roses called Out to Get Me. My band Even in Death, which is my original metal band, is doing really well. We're actually in the studio recording a brand new song and looking to go out and do some Texas touring. And then I do Big Bang, which is a tribute to the 80s. And then I do... What else do I do? The Devil's Jukebox every once in a while when Donnie Van Stavern is in town and able to do that from Riot. That's also with Shakes and Ramon from Wednesday 13 and Murder Dolls. And that's just a tribute to industrial metal. You know, stuff like that. So I'm always staying busy. I have a couple other projects too, but who cares?
Wow, that's pretty exhausting. That's a lot of bands and that's a lot of songs and different lyrics to remember.
Yeah.
So that's quite an accomplishment right there. So can you speak a little bit about the Medieval Nights days, the club, the back over there used to be behind Sneakers. Do you have some fond memories or some really classic shows that happened there?
Yeah, it's cool because my parents, like I said, they had bars, and so they had opened a little hole-in-the-wall bar called Pretty Woman. It was across the street. And every once in a while, I would book a band there. And so I would book some of my favorite local bands. They were the Psychoholics, or they were Godsonic, or I would book bands like that. So when we finally got into a bigger location, which was across the street, I was like, Pretty Woman, Mom, why don't we work on this little rock thing? Let's make it a rock bar. And so, because it kind of looked like a flea market in Pretty Woman. It's just my mom just bought random stuff and put it on the walls. And so I was real big into medieval things, you know, the time period. So we ended up calling it Medieval Nights with a K. And so we would have all my favorite local bands. And there's a lot of bands who got their start there. And what was interesting is it was right behind Sneakers, which is the legendary big rock club. Mm-hmm. It was right behind it, but people just loved to go hang out there. And so we had a lot of bands play there. Papa Roach, the first time they played in San Antonio, was there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And there wasn't a lot of people. I mean, not even 100 people. And then here we are 2 months after that. Papa Roach blows up. They're big. They're massive. And they're all over the radio. I remembered I went to go see Papa. It was Papa Roach, Powerman 5000, and somebody else. Can't remember. Anyhow, I saw them, and then I get a call from the bar, and they're like, there's this guy swinging around a stick in the bar asking for you, saying to give him free drinks. So they put him on the phone, and it's Jacoby from Papa Roach. He's like, dude, where are you at? I'm like, I'm at your show. I just got done watching you play. He's like, dude, we got a runner to run us here as fast as we can. So we all ended up leaving during Powerman 5000, of which I do love Powerman 5000. And so we hauled ass the club, but American Head Charge played, one of my favorite bands. American Head Charge played there quite a few times. I think there were so many bands that played there. Even Lifehouse, when they were on tour with Pearl Jam on their first tour, they played there on their off day. And so it was kind of a place that people would go hang out. There was like a back room, and I remember you'd always see the guys from, you'd see Donnie Van Stavern from Riot, or you'd see the Union Underground boys, and it was just always a who's who. I remember one time I booked Dave Rocky from Gwar.
Oh, wow.
And so I booked him on purpose with the Hellions, because I knew that was a lot of the other guys from Gwar. So they played together, and then when they were done, they did a show together as Gwar without makeup. Like an impromptu. They just jumped up there and started playing Gwar songs without their makeup.
That's got to be a rare occurrence.
Oh, yeah. That was all camcorders and stuff like that, and I don't even know if there was film footage, but so many bands, like Drowning Pool used to play there before they had Dave as a singer. This is way before Dave. And so back then they were trying to sound more like Alice in Chains. I still have a CD and a shirt from that whole era. And then they got Dave to come in and sing, and that completely changed the dynamics with Drowning Pool. I mean, half the time these guys were like, I lived in the hood, and after Medieval Nights would close, there'd be a tour bus in front of my house, and and we're the only white people in the neighborhood. Only white people in the neighborhood, and here comes a tour bus, and here comes all of our friends. But there was just so many crazy shows and that just happened, and it was kind of like the Cheers. It really was, because like everybody just went there to hang out. There's like nothing going on, or even if there is something going on, like I remember Psychoholics played, and they had a wedding for some guys that were kind of this couple that dressed like Kiss. I don't know. They were dressed like Kiss. I mean, I can't really put it all together, but yeah, just so many crazy times, and I'd love to do it again, but it's a changing market, and also it's expensive to open a club, and as you can tell, I'm kind of busy with learning the lyrics to, to everything else.
Oh,
but
yeah.
maybe one day. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So we did play, the Guns N' Roses played, I had to sing a couple weeks ago, and I had full-blown bronchitis. It was really brutal. But I remember we played with this band, and they were a tribute to Van Halen, and he had a teleprompter. I've never seen a teleprompter in my life. There is a real teleprompter.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like a monitor wedge.
Yes.
And I was over there peeking. I'm like, this is intriguing. I can read this really clearly.
Yeah. That's cool, though. Did you see a lot of bands that played at Sneakers go over to Medieval Nights to drink after?
They always did.
Like some of the bigger names, they just, we're not going to go on the tour bus. We're going to go walk over there. And
yeah, and out back of Sneakers was kind of close to our Outback, so they always, the Offspring or whoever's in town, a lot of times they'd walk over there and like day drink or come hang out afterwards because it was like the spot to hang out. And plus, we were right next door to a strip club, which didn't hurt. So
Yeah.
everybody would bounce between the three.
Wow, that's pretty cool. All right, well, you have your current band is at Even in Death.
Yep.
What are some of the best shows you did with them? I know you said Rocklahoma was involved.
Rocklahoma, yeah, we played Rocklahoma, and that was so much fun. And we played on a Saturday at Rocklahoma. We went on right before Quiet Riot, and I didn't know this till I was looking at a tour shirt the other day that Per Landra was on before us. And so we had like a 3:30 spot, and Rocklahoma has upwards to like 100,000 people there, especially on a Saturday.
Oh, wow.
And so it was really massive, and after we're done, we got in the media cart, and they took us to media, and we did all these interviews. And long story short, my partner and I ended up buying the podcast, one of the first ones to ever interview Even in Death, and it's called the All Things Metal Show. We bought that podcast, but we were on tour with Head PE, and we played El Cortisone in Seattle a couple years ago. One of the best shows I've ever played in my life. It was such a rowdy crowd and so cool, and to play legendary venues like that is just really cool.
Well, that's pretty. So who came up with the Even in Death name?
So I did not come up with the name.
Again?
I actually joined the band. Their singer, they were doing a record showcase, and he just decided he didn't want to do anymore. And so I filled in for them and stayed with them. When I first joined them, they had a few originals, and they were kind of going for that Disturbed sound. And I was like, that's cool, but they played 3 hours, and their set list was just a bunch of stuff I did not want to sing. So when it was all said and done, I said, look, if you guys want me to stay, then we're going to make this a real band, but it's going to have to be heavier.
Mm-hmm.
I love Disturbed, love you, John Moyer. Love Disturbed, but that's not. I wanted to go a little more on the attack, and so we throw elements of like old school thrash and stuff like in there, but we also throw in different elements. And so, what I like about the band is nobody can sit there and say, "Hey, you sound like." Everybody has they're like, you sound like Trivium, you sound like this band, you sound like this band. Because the one thing I never want to be is in a band where they're like, every time they're like, you sound just like Korn.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Yeah, well, that makes sense. It's an original sound.
Yeah.
You can't say you sound like Metallica, you sound like this, you sound like that. Mm-hmm. So that's what defines a real band. You don't sound like anybody else.
Well, and also I don't want one of our songs to sound like the other songs. I want it to sound like it's the same band and it has a continuous flow. But like one thing I don't like going is playing a whole set where it's kind of like you're going so heavy, you're going down like a roller coaster the whole time. I mean, you have to have those ups and downs in your set to where the heavy sounds heavy and the mellow and the stuff that you sing along sounds like the sing along stuff. Because when it's just going 100 million miles an hour at one time, it gets real boring after a while, and it's not a lot of there's not a lot of transitions and things happening. So it kind of like sounds like one big song.
It's like repetitive.
Yeah. So I mean, we haven't really had a ballad or anything like that. I mean, we've had a slow song that we put put out called Heaven, which I don't think it's out available right now. I think the label had taken it down. But it was really just dealing with all my different friends in the music scene who had passed away. You know, all the different Texas people I know, you know, like, speaking of which, I know Medicine Tongue's about to do a reunion show, but, you know, like, I miss Fred. And so there's so many people who have passed away that are just really good people, and so I wrote that song for that. But I want to kind of have a song for everything, you know. The one thing I do want to always do is have hopefully some kind of positive message in there. I mean, I can't do it all the time because there's a few songs where I'm just pissed off at somebody.
Oh yeah, that's rock and roll.
That's rock and roll.
Yeah. So how did you end up doing, or whose idea was it to cover that Journey song, Separate Ways?
So we actually tried that before with some of our old members, and we tried it, and but then when we had the new lineup, well, Frankie, who passed away, was playing drums for us, and we decided to re-tackle it, retry it again. And then I was talking to Frankie. I'm like, you know what? During this part of the song, why don't you make your drums kind of tribal? You know what I mean? And so we redid it. We had to record the whole song in one day in a studio that we rented, which really kind of sucked. We were on a deadline because John Tobar, who signed us at the time, had signed Marilyn Manson. He was like, I want this out. This needs to be out by this date. And we were just having fun. We're having trouble finding a studio to get it done real quick. So the song is good. I like the song.
It's one of their biggest hits.
I wish we would have had more time to work on the production and more. And, you know, like I literally had to just go in and sing it in one day, and we had to record it. So that's a little difficult trying to do a song that they did not go in and record in one day and sing in one day. You know, Journey didn't do that in one day. They did it over, you know, many days, vocal tracks here, this, that.
Oh, I'm sure.
So that's my biggest regret. David McGilfrey did go in and kind of tweak the drums so it sounds heavier, but I don't know. People, we played that song. We played Tulsa, Oklahoma a few weeks ago for the Surviving Rocklahoma 10-year anniversary party. We did that song and the place just went nuts. So it's kind of time and placement. We don't always do that song, but depending on the venue and the show, you know, like we played it with Paralandra, but we haven't played that song in quite a while, so we're looking for something new to tackle.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like you do a lot of original music and a few covers. So here's an interesting question I've asked other people about. What's your take on the whole AI thing, how people are just it's not organic. They're just using computers and laptops and samples, and it's not a room of real people with real musicians with real instruments. So do you have an opinion on the way that's being created now?
Oh yeah, I hate it. Like, because I just saw that there was something about some AI band that was hitting the playlist and like making, I don't know, Spotify or YouTube, and they're hitting all these numbers, and it was generating all these views, but it wasn't real. Nothing in there was real. And I'm like, that's scary. I mean, even like, okay, so I do a podcast and I put them out as MP3s. Even an MP3 is not as good a quality as a recording. I mean, the MP3 is made to get rid of a lot of sounds and signals and bells and whistles and a lot of stuff you don't hear, but it gets rid of a lot of stuff, so that's why it always sounds better on a CD than an MP3. And now we're going into AI, which is kind of writing it in the same way too, it seems like. And it just seems very generic. I mean, I know there's a discussion on whether artists should use AI in artwork. And so I 100% support artists. They actually do it. We've used AI like for some thumbnails and stuff for songs and stuff like that. But if possible, even like if we can get AI and get an artist to draw it, you know, or paint it or airbrush it, that makes it so much better, because it's not literally, because the AI is just literally just getting clips of everything it could find on the internet and throwing it together and boom, here you go.
Yeah, because when I talked to Pat Travers about it, he said, remember that AI only draws from what's out there now. It doesn't create anything new.
No.
It only takes from what's already available out there. So, but like I said, I don't think there's any comparison or to real people in a room bouncing ideas and look, I got this riff. Check out this. I wrote this lyric. How does that sound? As opposed to just going into a computer and saying, give me an idea for this.
Yeah.
So, You know, it just doesn't have that corazon. You know.
So the more stuff we write, the more AI has to work with.
And I guess it's feeding the machine.
We are feeding the machine.
All
Nobody
right.
learned anything from Terminator.
I guess not. So what's the best way that people can keep up with what you're doing, like your podcast, where you're going to be at, future shows?
So we're trying to get better about that. The All Things Metal Show has got a Facebook site. It's All Things Metal Show with Sean Nations. You can go to allthingsmetalshow.com, but we're getting ready to branch out to where it's available on more platforms. Because right now I think it's on Amazon and our website, but it's about to go into sometimes on Spotify. Spotify is kind of hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they pick it up, sometimes they don't. And I think a lot of it's based on, licensing and stuff like that. But we're getting ready to head towards starting to do YouTube and all that stuff. And then all the bands, there's evenindeath.net. All the bands have websites. We're trying to be really active on Facebook and Instagram. We're trying to get better about TikTok and other platforms. It's a lot of work. And so being in this many bands, and having a radio show and doing all this stuff, I had to put time aside and say, okay, today I've got to do social posts, and I've got to do this, and I've got to make a story, but I got to make a reel, and so it's a lot to deal with. And I understand why there's firms to do that and why they make good money.
That's a lot to do for one person.
It is a lot to do. So I'm trying to get some of the guys and my other bands to kind of offload a little bit, because my partner and I, Clark and I, are also going to start bringing in rock shows, and we want to work towards getting big festivals. Really want to make San Antonio a big thing. And I'm also going on to different podcasts, and different podcasts are coming on mine. Like I go on to 128 dB with Chaz Knight, which is out of Dallas, and he's one of the guys that helped get like Drowning Pool and Bowling for Soup and a lot of these great Texas bands signed. So we're trying to cross promote, and so same thing with you. I want to make sure I help you get some interviews with some of these peeps.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's awesome. So, do you think we'll ever see a Devil's Jukebox reunion show ever?
This goes back to us trying to find Donnie Van Stavern.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever see that?
Well,
The last time I saw that was at Papa Woody's, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know Ramon is not out with Wednesday 13 right now. Ramon is over in England with his wife. Donnie Van Stavern, I think, is out with Riot right now, unless he's just posting old pictures, which I'm not sure. I know he posts a lot of stuff. And then Shakes is playing with Wednesday 13 again. He's playing drums for them again. It possibly could happen. I do want to make it happen. I know Ramon, when he was in town, he was like, let's try and do a show. But Donnie's touring schedule with Riot's been so crazy lately. And also Donnie's been doing the S.A. Slayer with Jason McMaster and the Jar Zombies, and all that, McLean and all them. And so, and Dave McLean also just put out a new song with Jason McMaster and some other guys, from Dirty Looks and stuff like that. The band's called Hot Shot. So there you go. There's something new that Jason sent me the other day, because Jason has 1 million bands. I think Jason has more bands than I do.
I think so. Yeah, he's got all kinds. Now, does Bob Catlin join any of these? Does he ever pop up on any of these bands? Or?
Bob does the S.A. Slayer stuff. And I recently just bought an S.A. Slayer shirt from SASlayer.com. Really
I need to get one of those.
Yeah, it's like the old one with the,
Yes. That's cool, though.
Yeah.
All right, well, to wrap up this interview, here's an interesting question, and because I've known you for so long, and I know you like to travel.
Oh, yeah.
Where was, I guess, what would you say was the best place you ever went to when you were traveling? Because I know you've traveled the world. Mm-hmm. I know you said you went to Romania.
Oh, yeah.
So do you have a favorite place that you went to go visit and that it was just awesome?
Well, Romania is fun because I went to a Halloween party on Halloween night in Hunadora Castle, which is the big castle that has the big moats. Mm-hmm. I mean, I went to Bran Castle, which is the Dracula one, but the Hunadora's one, it's got the big long moat kind of walkway going in there, and it's just wicked. I liked Bali a lot, going to Indonesia and being because they had I mean, they have all these cool structures everywhere, even on the beach. But people put out offerings everywhere you go, and they're little sacrament offerings. And it's some are for prayer, some are just for good luck, good fortune. They put them out front of their businesses, and it's burning incenses and like flowers and stuff like that, and so it just smells really fragrant everywhere you go. And that's the only country. Bali is the only country in Indonesia that is Hindu. I think all the rest are Muslim. I'm not 100% sure because I only went to one. But that was cool, like riding elephants through the jungle and stuff like that. And I don't know, going swimming off the coast of Cancun in the middle of the ocean with the whale sharks.
Oh my God.
These guys are, like, I was swimming alongside the gills, and the gills were longer than I was. You know, these things are bigger than buses. I don't know. I just think I wish everybody made it a point to go travel, go experience another country. I think that's really important for Americans because we get real stuck in how things are in America. But really, just go over and explore and see different countries, because see how different people live, talk to them, and see their views.
Like different cultures.
Yeah. So. I mean, I remember being overseas, and they're like, "Really, Donald Trump is running for president?" They're talking about the actor's running, and so it's interesting, and you get a better perception of how the world works. So I think, I don't know, there's just so many cool places. Like New Orleans is like a home. It feels like to me every time I'm there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I love New Orleans.
That's awesome. All right, well, I guess we're going to wrap it up right now and end it on a high note, as I always say. So thanks for taking a few minutes of your time and talking to us, and we appreciate it. We'll be looking for you for the next shows, Even in Death, your concerts that you're going to be bringing into town. Mm-hmm. So once again, thank you so much for doing this, and we will talk to you the next time around.
Peace out.